There it is, guys. 140mm. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to the TECHNESS Corner. I'm your host, Seb Luca. Why don't you guys just step right on in? Have a seat and make yourselves comfy, because we got another unboxing video for you all. Like usual, you got here probably because of the title, description, and or no BS approach, which is what I tend to take regarding my videos. It doesn't mean we can't have fun, y'all, but it just means that I'm not going to generally clickbait my things. I don't want to be perceived that way. And if everything's going really well and the numbers don't stack up, I won't start to clickbait things either. That just doesn't make sense to me. But YouTube politics aside, what do we have today for you all? Well, we've got ourselves something that as of only yesteryear was one of the probably best. Now the market's extremely flooded when it comes to this apparatus. I recently reviewed and unboxed the SickleFlow 140mm RGB fans, which are a very decent budget alternative fan with a high CFM flow. Nothing wrong with the fan, but I got the urge and the itch after experiencing the RGB from the fan. I was satisfied, but not extremely pleased. Maybe playing on nostalgia, I remembered my NZXT case that I had from only yesteryear, approximately 2017, 2018. And I remember that the RGB felt different, felt more vibrant, more lively. It was sort of killer in that approach. And I thought to myself, if the price is right, we may reconsider, because even though the SickleFlow 140mm fan, which you can have a look at the unboxing if you're after 140mm fan specifically, in the description below, links provided, I realized that I could perhaps, if the price is right, get something of slightly even better performance. And I really want that exhaust to blow as feverishly as it can. And on top of that, the NZXT nostalgia of the RGB of yesteryear, which now may not be the pinnacle and or is competing with a lot more argy-bargy of a mess that is our PCs today. I thought I'd give it a go. So to my right over here, we've got ourselves the Aer RGB 2 or Aer RGB 2 1x 140mm RGB fan from NZXT. Let's get stuck right on in. So let's go. So generally speaking, I do like to get stuck, not right on into the TECHNESS Corner videos pertaining to unboxings, but give you a bit of a rundown on the item, be it as may, as well as my 2 cents from what I know of and what I expect potentially from the item per se. So NZXT and the Aer RGB 2, I guess that means version 2 of this fan, is on appearance aggressive in looks. It's got a slope inwards, which I assume would vacuum the air further still. And yes, it's one of those fans, seems to at first glance check all the bells and whistles. They cost approximately 45 Australian dollars. And at the moment, I believe there are some retailers such as M-Wave that have them in stock on special with a price drop of approximately $31, which is a bargain considering. That's still double the price of the 140mm SickleFlow fans, which have a CFM rating of approximately 74 or thereabouts. Very competitively priced, and these ones, as a result, have to stack up to be justifiable pending cost. Now, they're by no means your most expensive RGB variant of fans available, be it 140mm or other, but they're priced within margins of everyone being able to get something a little bit better for their budget build. Otherwise, someone trying to save for what is their premium build, because these at first glance don't look like they're going to be of anything less than a premium product to begin with. NZXT is known for better quality products as well, and as a result, I'm hoping that that statement is true to its word as we get further into the unboxing of this 140mm RGB fan. Now, on a side note, back to the nostalgia temperament I've had. I sold the case, but I've still got the strips. Essentially, they were in the case. Unfortunately, I try to install them in another case, and this is something to take note of regarding the NZXT RGB requirements. Their proprietary connection, even though they've got 4 pins, don't let that fool you. It's not a 12 volt, definitely not a 5 volt that generally comes with 3 pins, but it's a proprietary connection where essentially the pins are flipped on the 4 and it's a 5 volt requirement, and as a result you will blow those if you connect them to a motherboard header, be it one or the other. So take note of that. But I've got one of these 300mm strips or slash 2 of them coming in tomorrow. So we're going to progress with our recreation of our RGB in our PC to my right, which is Extrafy. X is a 10900K system that's always in the works. It's time for a bit of a spruce up and upgrade pertaining to his RGB. One more important note to mention is to utilize the NZXT RGB fans, you're going to probably first need to get yourself a hover fans, a 2-pack or a 3-pack, which comes with a controller and or a controller itself. Those controllers by themselves retail for approximately 55 Australian dollars. They look something like this. I actually do still possess the controller as well, which I had with the NZXT case, which I let go. Luckily, I didn't have to buy it this time around, so it should be an easy fit installing this into the case per se. In turn, I should be able to connect up the RGB and the fan, which is from my understanding a PWM fan, to the controller to be controlled effectively through the CAM software, which is what you utilize to control all aspects of your RGB pertaining to the NZXT range, as well as fan speeds and whatnot. And the CAM software isn't overly invasive and quite well thought out now and developed, that I do like using it as additional software on top of any monitoring software which I can open up, as well as anything else per se that you use. You've got a mini version of the CAM software which can give you diagnostical information in a small mini bar, and I like to have that off to a left or right monitor where necessary to have that all available at first glance. In case a problem arises, I can work out where it's coming from first up, and then we can diagnose from there if necessary. So with all that crap behind us, let's have a closer look at what we're talking about today. Let's go, people. So first things first, closer look at the controller which you will need. This will help explain what on earth I was talking about a second ago. The controller itself looks something like this. The only difference is one of the ports, there's an additional port in it. This is probably the first variant of the controller in that regards. NZXT controller, and it allows you to connect up any NZXT fans or other fans that you may have, as well as your RGB LEDs, strips, under strips, fans with RGB and everything inclusive, be it NZXT Kraken that exclusively goes to a USB 2.0 port by itself for control. So speaking of USB 2.0, this fan header has a USB 2.0 connection that it requires to send all data through to the PC. So one of those USB 2.0 headers is going to be needed to be free on your motherboard to utilize this and the RGB provided by NZXT. Also, power to this controller is powered through a SATA connection. Very simple, connect that up to the SATA connector from your power supply and you're pretty much ready to go. Installing the fan, that is. Eventually the fan will be connected to one of the 3, if it is 3 that you have. You may have more, you may have less, depending on which controller you have. Fan connection points, and the other connector, if it's not chain linked, will go into one of the LED connection points, where generally the newer controllers have a couple more, either 1 or 2 more LED controller connections. Take note that I believe there's a rating of how many LEDs you can have on one connection point or one channel per se, so that's something to take note of as well, so that you don't flood too many items into the chain before you connect it up to the controller itself, which then will be controlled by the CAM software. So we'll pop that aside, taking us to what this is all about in the end, and it's our AER or Aer RGB 2 140mm 1-pack RGB fan produced by NZXT. So let's get finally into this unboxing, people. So before we continue, it comes in like a nice little novel size box, and it's got the NZXT, what we've grown accustomed to, coloring scheme pertaining to it. Not overly invasive in any way, but not completely bland like a black box may be. It's got some information on the side in various languages, as well as on the other side, any relevant information. So it does specify that the fan is compatible with all NZXT RGB and fan controller and accessories. So on the back, it gives us some more information relevant to the fan, including sizing and diameters and whatnot. It is a 140mm fan, and with that being said, it is your standard 25mm depth, and it's obviously 140 by 140mm in size and diameter per se. It's got a 2-year warranty, and since the warranty has already begun, I should stop crapping on too much and get you guys into the unboxing. I just thought it worthwhile to note that you guys should know some more things before heading straight into your unboxings and installations, so that you're aware of what you're getting yourselves into before potentially making any mistakes. So our trusty knife, get us our trusty knife please. So I got this given to me by my late uncle, rest in peace sir, but it's come in handy for what is our unboxing tool. I might go from the bottom side here, so just one slit there allows us the privilege of opening the box. So what is finally in the box today, people? Let us pull out this NZXT fan, because I'm excited, y'all. I'm very excited. Okay, here we go. So at first we're greeted with QR code to download the full manual and NZXT support card. There it is, guys. And as we go further in, we've got ourselves a neatly packaged item of some sort. Hopefully it's the right thing and we didn't get stooged in any way. I doubt it's the case now that we got them this far, but I've seen crazier happen. So we'll open up over here first to our, what will be our cables, I'm guessing. We've got some screws here that I can see, so it's got all the screws necessary to install the fan, unless you're installing into a radiator. If installing into a radiator, then you obviously will need some longer screws potentially, depending on which side you're installing from. So we've got our screws, as well as a couple of other bits and pieces that will work out what they are. I'm expecting a silico packet, dry pack, cool. And here we got 1, 2, 3 items, which are all relating to the addressable RGB of the NZXT fan. There's an extension lead, there's a connection point that goes into the fan itself and out to the controller, which is over here again. So you'll get one of those going to the controller. And then there's another point, which is the out variant, and an extension lead that can extend the fan further into the chain of other fans perhaps that you may be getting. So I think I've explained enough pertaining to how to connect everything up together. It's very simplistic once you've got the item in front of you. Just be aware of the fact that these are proprietary connectors and you can't plug them straight into your motherboard. That leaves us with one more item, the piece de resistance, and that is our NZXT fan. Now, from my understanding, they also come in the white variant, which is great if you, especially utilizing a white build, plus white tends to bounce that RGB a lot further depending on what you're after. So let's have a closer look at what you guys can see now is quite an aggressive looking 140mm fan. Give that a spin. So the nice thing that NZXT's done at first glance is the backside. As you can see, it's got a sticker there as well with all the information relevant to the wattages and whatnot of the fan per se, and it's black as well. So regardless of what side you've got it connected to or what's visible, it's not overly obtrusive. Unfortunately, it hasn't got a ring on the backside pertaining to the RGB. If that's a thing for you, depending on how you've got it placed in the system, it may not be worth getting these to begin with. That's why my Kraken Z73 has not got the RGB fans connected because I had to do it in a pull mechanism. So that means they're like this on top of my computer, pulling air through the radiator from underneath and blowing it out topside. So I didn't require to splurge more on the RGB per se. It would have been a waste. This, on the other hand, is going to go as the exhaust, backside, completely visible, and as a result, I felt the need to update the RGB. Also, a byproduct of this update is that the fan itself is slightly higher rated pertaining to its CFM capabilities than the Sickle Flow 140mm fan I've currently got installed, and as a result, I believe it's got the capabilities of spinning from 500 to 1500 RPM, give or take margin of error pertaining to each product. And as a result, at full flight, it can move 91.13 CFM, which is a good almost 15 clicks above what isn't too shabby for a 140mm fan to begin with from the Sickle Flow Cooler Master range. But at double the price, you better hope so. At first glance, I can see it's made from plastic, rubber, PCB. If we pop it down like so, you guys can see that it's got an aggressive slant to it, which is also refreshing because it doesn't look like your conventional fan in this day and age. It's got rubber stoppers, sound dampeners, vibration dampeners, which is good. And turning it over here, it's got a PWM fan. Speaking of vibration and or noises, it's rated between 22 to I believe 31 decibel. At full flight, you won't hear more than 31 decibel. Inside a case that is constricted by the case itself, it should be barely audible still, although slightly higher than others in the range, including the Sickle Flow Cooler Master I've currently got installed. On the side here, which isn't completely normal, you've got the serial number sticker as well as an out and an in, and this is in reference to what I was mentioning earlier on, that you've got both the out, which you can connect up to chain link more items, or the in coming from the controller, making life fairly simple in that regards once you understand what you have to do. Not overly complicated, to be honest. One drawback is with the controller and everything else associated with these, you do have to run a fair amount of cables in the backside of your system and or through it. As long as you can mitigate that, you should be fine. The 140mm NZXT fan is rated for 0.32 amps at the 12 volts. Obviously, it will receive its power from the controller and or the motherboard header that you'll be attaching it to. Understand it is 0.32, so 4 of these on a general motherboard will blow that header because they're sometimes only rated to 1 amp themselves in total. Very, very beautiful fan. It's starting to appeal to me further still as we progress forward. I'm starting to get a little antsy, wondering how it'll look once installed in the case. I hope that's a thorough rundown of the fan itself and what you expect to get in this box through the unboxing that we've just done, guys. Now, before we continue, because I'm going to install the fan into the case, I'm going to show you guys what I'm dealing with currently pertaining to color spectrum per se and what's in the case currently, including the Sickle Flow 140mm fan it's replacing. You guys can experience a before and after tour if the installation process isn't completely documented through video of what the end result is from what I've currently got at this moment. So let's take a closer look at Extrafy, or X, be it in the short, and let's let the magic begin. I apologize for the shonky camera work. As you can see, we've got the 140mm fan radiating in the background, as well as the NZXT Kraken cooler installed over here, our Radeon AMD card, and yeah, all things be it blue. Let's get into the installation and see how much different the ring effect and RGB from the Aer RGB 2 produced by NZXT ends up looking. Now, I will end up trying to produce the same color scheme for the time being before we put it in complete rainbow monstrosity spew, so that you guys can get a before and after, and then also the effects in general and how they run through. So yeah, I apologize for the camera work. What I might do is after the installation, I will grab the phone camera and we'll get a better picture of what we've got as an end product. So that's all you guys were here for. My name is Seb Luca. Thanks for joining us at the TECHNESS Corner. Otherwise, stay for another 20 to 30 seconds and see the after footage, which will be my crappy B-roll playing out the end product, which is our Aer RGB 2 140mm NZXT fan connected up and hopefully working correctly in Xtrify, my personal system. So let's go, guys. Thanks y'all, and peace out. Alright, so here's the finished product. As you can see, there's a little bit of a twinkle at the bottom there, and alongside the top there you can't really see the top side. Bottom LED strip I may move ever so slightly, but I'll turn on the audio as I've got it set up. And there we go, we're lit up. Onto that audio, and the NZXT Aer RGB 2 is doing its justice with the amount of CFM it's pushing through the case, which I wanted to grab from the GPU. As the GPU heat rises, it takes it out before it hits the AIO essentially. So that's it, guys. Peace out, y'all.